Hey viewers, welcome back to this YouTube channel Mir Academia, and it's Samzami. My today's video is related with the Pakistan Studies P1 History, and I have chosen one of the unit out of it, that is the regional languages of Pakistan. So I'm going to discuss about one of the question of this unit, and before we start, let's figure out what the question is. So there you go, here you have the question right on the screen, that why Urdu was chosen as the national language of Pakistan. And as you can see that this is of 7 marks. So let's see that what points we have over here. The number 1 we have is introduction. Whenever you people are going to attempt any question, obviously you start up with the introduction. In this one, you people are going to give the introduction of a language. So let me tell you that what points that comes over here. Number 1, you would talk about the ideas. Secondly, to build characters related with the language. And the third one would be the sense of harmony. Let me explain that. When we talk about the first one, so language is something which is the only medium through which one can express his ideas and his feelings or the sentiments to the others. Secondly, when we talk about building up the characters, so language is something which plays a very vital role to create or to build the characters of individuals as well as a nation. And the last thing is that it is something which creates harmony among the people, or mean the peace among the people. So if you people have a common language, so it would create a lot of things. For example, it would be much easier for you people to express your ideas, your feelings, or your sentiments to the other person. So these are the major things that you would write over there in the introduction. Moving towards the next paragraph we have over here is the rich literature background. Now this would become your second paragraph. Let's see that what we have over here. Urdu reached in all parts of the subcontinent through poets in the 16th century. So it means that in this one, you people are going to talk about the poets and the writers. Now, due to the efforts of the poets and the writers during the different period of history, Urdu reached in all parts of the subcontinent in the 16th century. Which means that in this paragraph, you people are going to mention about the efforts of the poets and the writers, that just because of which Urdu was able to reach in all parts of the subcontinent. Obviously, in this paragraph, you people have to mention few major poets as well. So let me show you that which names you people can enter. Number 1 we have over here is Maulana Shibli Numani. One name that you can add over here in this paragraph, that would be the Maulana Shibli. The second one would be Amir Khusro, who also contributed in the same cause. The third one we have is the very important one, that is Mirza Ghalib. Now all these poets, what they did, they adopted Urdu as a language in their poetry to make it accessible to all parts of the subcontinent in the 16th century. As Mirza Ghalib said, बेखुदी बेसबब नहीं गालिब, कुछ तो है जिसकी पर्दादारी है. Now there are few more points that you people need to add in the same paragraph. Let me write the point first of all. There were few changes which was being brought by the Muslims. Why? Let me write it first. There were certain changes with the passage of time which was being brought in the language by the Muslims to make it, one thing, more simple, and the second one, to make it easier to understand according to the need and the requirement of that time. And one perfect example we have over here is the translation of the religious books. There were certain religious books which were translated into Urdu, and one perfect example we have over here is the example of Holy Quran. We know that the Holy Quran was the one which was translated by Shah Waliullah, that was in Persian, just because it was a common language at that time. Later on, the two sons of Shah Waliullah, they translated Quran into Urdu, and their name was mainly Shah Rafi, who was one son of Shah Waliullah, and the second one we have over here was Shah Abdul Qadir. So these two were the one who translated Quran into Urdu. So this is one more point that you would add over here in the rich literature background. Moving towards the next point of the same paragraph, we have over here is the speeches of the national leaders. Now, before I start this one, let me clarify one more thing over here, that the national language, when we talk about Urdu being a national language of the country, it is the binding force. The first thing that you need to address over here, that this language was mainly the binding force between the different parts of Pakistan. But when we talk about this paragraph, it means that the leaders, the national leaders that we have at that time, what they did, they used to deliver their speeches in other part of the world, means other countries. So what exactly they get in return, that they got a prestige of this language at international level, means that most of our national leaders, they used to deliver their speeches in Urdu while visiting to the other countries, which mainly enhanced its prestige on international level. Now we know that being the national language of the country, it already had a binding force between the different parts of the Pakistan. But later on, when our leaders, they started giving speeches in Urdu in other parts of the world, so this is something which gave them a huge respect at international level. Now here our second paragraph ended. Moving towards the third paragraph of this question, here we have the long history. It means that this is the third paragraph that you would write. Let's see that what key points that we have over here in this paragraph. Number one we have is linguistic influence in 711 in Sindh. The earliest linguistic influences in the development of Urdu that probably begin with the Muslims' conquest of Sindh in 711. So this is how mainly it starts with. The second point we have over here is the Delhi Sultanate, that was from 1206 to 1526. Here we have the map regarding the Sultanate of Delhi. One point. Another point is the Mughal Empire, that was from 1526 to 1858. Now I have mentioned these points. Why? Because when we talk about Urdu as a language, and in these two eras, Urdu developed more decisively. So what you would write over here is the more development of Urdu was mainly done in these two eras, the Delhi Sultanate and in the Mughal Empire. When we talk about the Delhi Sultanate, it expanded towards south to Deccan Plateau, and it over there, when the Urdu was already there and it reaches towards the Deccan Plateau, that language at that time were being influenced by the other language as well in that was being spoken in Sindh. And there were two languages which were there. One was mainly Punjabi, that was the language just because of which Urdu got influenced, and the second one over there, Haryanvi, that was another language which was there already in Sindh. So Urdu was mainly got influenced by these two as well. Next we have the last point of this one is the Muslim armies. Now in its early stage, it was used by the Muslim armies, the language, and became widely spoken and understood in many parts of the subcontinent. As the Muslims were there in the armies, they used to speak this language, and as it was called as Lashkar, so just because of that's why this language in the army was called as Lashkari language. So this is what we have in the third paragraph of the long history. Moving towards the next point of the same paragraph, let's see that what we have over here. British took inspiration from the predecessors Mughals. Now what Mughals did, the Mughals were the one who promoted Urdu as one of their language of communication, as Urdu became the first official language of British India in 1850. So this is why the British were the one who got influential. So what point that I'm talking about is the Urdu was the one which was mainly the source of communication for the Mughals. So this made British influential. Next point we have over here is the language, the local language was being replaced with English. In North and in Northwestern India, the British attempted to replace the official language, the local official language, with English. They did that just because they wanted to streamline the communication, their communication and their official businesses. Let me add the point over here. I'm talking about two areas over here. One is north, and the second one I'm talking about is northwestern India. That was mainly the Muslim majority areas at that time. So what British did in these areas, they converted their local language and they replaced it with English. They did that just because of two things. One, they wanted to streamline two things over here. One, they wanted to streamline their communication, one thing, and secondly, they wanted to streamline their business as well. Just because of this, they were mainly got influenced by the Mughals, because they did what? They promoted their language for the source of communication. Another thing that happened in the same era was the Hindi-Urdu controversy. Now, it was during this period of British rule in India that a new controversy began, which was known as Hindi-Urdu controversy, that has been written over here, and the year was 1867. When the British, they prepared to accept the demand of Hindu community to adopt Hindi as the second official language. Why? Because at that time Urdu was mainly became the second official language, because the British, they converted the local language and replaced it with the English language. So later on Urdu became the second one. Now Hindus mainly wanted the Hindi to be the second official language. One personality that came over here was Sir Syed. Here you can see the picture of Sir Syed over here. He was one person who became the most vocal opponent of this change that is being brought by the British just because of the pressure of Hindus. This is the last point that we have over here regarding the third paragraph. Moving towards the last paragraph, that is the fourth paragraph of this question. Let's see that what point we have over here. That is the unifying symbol, means Urdu as a unifying force. Now here the first point that we have over here is Jinnah, means Qaid-e-Azam. He was the one who was particularly keen to promote Urdu as he saw it as a unifying force. Let me add one point over here, because Jinnah thought it to be a unifying force. So that is why he was very much willing to make Urdu as a national language. Since Pakistan was a very new country, it was very appropriate to pick a language which had played a vital part in making Muslims united in the past. So that is one more reason that Jinnah chooses Urdu as a national language. Here is one statement of Jinnah which can straight away claim that very much that how much keen he was to make Urdu as a national language. This one statement was mainly given by Jinnah. You can see over here that it was on 21st March and it was in 1948, and the place was Dhaka, that was in Bangladesh, which is now the capital of Bangladesh. One last thing that we have over here, let me clarify this one last point over here, the formation of Muslim League. When we talk about the formation of this party was not only made just to defend the rights of the Muslims, but this party was also made to protect Urdu as a national language as well. So this is it. That's the end of this question. If you people think that this video was useful, please kindly do mention in the comment box. Don't forget to subscribe or to like the channel, and keep watching. Inshallah, we'll meet in the next video next time. Until then, Khuda Hafiz.